After waiting an additional day, I just got a package delivered, and yes, it is the OnePlus Open. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to unbox the OnePlus Open, and then I'm going to spend some amount of time comparing it to some other very important devices to this channel. How about the Pixel Fold? How about the Z Fold 4? In this instance, should be pretty much the same as the Z Fold 5. What about the Surface Duo 2? I don't really know what I'm going to cover yet, okay, because I just don't know where this is going to go. But I'm going to have these devices all in front of me, and we're going to kind of compare, contrast, look at a few things, and see some of the most interesting things I can potentially pull out about the OnePlus Open. I also have the new earbuds here. We're not going to talk about that. We're probably not going to look at the camera or in any significant way at all, because that's going to need to be in its own video. This is going to be strictly a first impression, basically my reaction to the OnePlus Open in real time, and then comparing it to those other devices. So here it is. This is the OnePlus Open. The very first thing I noticed when I picked the thing up was that it is indeed as light as people are saying that it is. It is so much lighter than my Pixel Fold, and it is likewise lighter than my Z Fold 4, which is actually almost dead. So we're going to plug that in for a moment while we're talking about this device. It is extremely light. This feels basically like you're holding a relatively large phone. In terms of the hardware, we do of course have this 3-direction, or I guess 3-click notification slider. So you have notifications on, you have vibrate, which I think I did it too quickly, and then you have silent. Let's go back down to vibrate. I guess it doesn't really say anything, it just kind of vibrates. I do like that a lot. Volume, rocker, and then power button. I think both of those are probably entirely too high. I don't know why they're up that far, but they are. On the back, there is that massive camera bump, and it seems as though when I'm holding it, that just kind of is where my finger naturally wants to go. I did get the black version that is this like faux leather finish. It does feel quite solid in the hand, but there are some interesting quirks. So if you look down this way, you can actually see there's kind of like a divot in between the two halves, and that's making it so much easier to get a hold of it to open it up, much more so than I feel like you have here. It feels like this is such a strong grip and there's like nothing to really grab a hold of, and that makes it very difficult to open. This, I don't think, no, this is not nearly as strong of a magnet, so it's way, way easier to open. I do also want to point out that once you get so far, it snaps open very hard. Like, watch this. Boom, it just snaps its way, the rest of the way open, which is very, very interesting. You've got 2 speakers on top, and it looks like maybe 2 speakers on the bottom. I do also want to point out when I'm going around this device and I'm looking at those speakers, kind of strange. That's a speaker. There's 2 up top. There's one that looks like a speaker down here, but it doesn't seem to make any kind of sound. So there's 3 speakers for whatever reason. Let's turn on the main screen here. And actually, if I'm kind of bracing myself with the camera, I can reach that pretty comfortably. So the one-handability aspect is going to be interesting to kind of note, because obviously it is taller than my Pixel Fold, but not a great deal taller. Let's bring the Z Fold into the mix as well. It's the Fold 4, but you could stand in your Fold 5. It's going to be basically the same. So it's basically the same height as the Fold 4, but you're getting width that's closer to the Pixel Fold, not quite as wide. You can see there at the top of the screen, always on display doing its thing. Let's jump into the operating system. Well, first off, I guess we should say, look how fast that is. That is lightning fast. Man, no complaints there at all. So this is the operating system. Let's jump into the quick settings, because this does look different than pretty much any other device that I have. Let's get rid of that stuff. That's the first pull down, and then that's your second pull down. For here, it's going to look like that. So that is a different look. I think that's not too bad. That's a fairly clean look. We jump into our settings. This looks about how you'd expect. I like that nice bounce at the bottom. One other thing I'm noticing is that it came with a screen protector, and I'm hoping that this gets better, but it feels sharp. So when I'm doing like a back gesture, I'm kind of scraping against that screen protector, which I don't necessarily love. Let's open this thing up though and get a look at that internal screen. So as I'm editing this, I'm getting more and more time sort of playing around with this thing, and I want to really underscore something. This screen is absolutely magnificent. It looks incredible. This is maybe the best screen I've ever used in person, outdoors, indoors. My goodness, this screen. You can probably tell that they're doing the Pixel thing where you basically have your tablet screen is page 1 and page 2 of your launcher. That's exactly what we have here, for better or for worse. Let's open up the Pixel Fold and we can compare the appearance of the crease. So this is the Pixel Fold. Yes, mine is dirty. I use it all the time, so it's got lots of fingerprints. Here is the Z Fold 4, which should look pretty much identical to the Fold 5. It's quite visible. And then here is the OnePlus Open. Now, I do expect it to get worse, right? Because overuse, it's going to kind of break in. But for right now, when I tell you I can't see it, like I literally don't know that I can see it at all. So that's pretty impressive. Of course, we do also have to compare this thing to Microsoft's Surface Duo 2. You can see the size difference there and there. Let's go ahead and compare phone mode, which is going to look like that. Maybe we'll throw the Pixel Fold in there as well, just to give some additional context. Very, very, very wide screen. Let's go ahead and move that back out of the way since you have that context. And let's do a side-by-side of these things in their sort of tablet mode. Can we get a good idea of what it's like to do this multitasking thing? So let's go with the Play Store, and then we'll go with YouTube because I have that installed on this thing already. So then we're going to go Play Store, and then we're going to drag YouTube up there. So you can see that the aspect ratio is obviously different. These are two very wide apps. These are more narrow. If I am to rotate this, looks like auto rotation might be turned off. Indeed it was. If I were to rotate this, it does get slightly wider, but not really a whole lot because this screen is almost a square. Let's see about that multitasking experience. So open up an application. Here is our taskbar down there, and it's showing dragging an app to one side or the other. Touch and hold to hide or show the taskbar. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our app drawer right there. Let's go down to, let's just do like YouTube. We'll drag it up. We are now in split screen view. So now let's go ahead and drag a third app up, and you can see that's the option that I get. And now it's gonna have 3 in a row, and I think I can just, I just tap. And it's gonna slide between all the open apps. A 4-finger pinch shows them all. This is very, very cool. What if, did not mean to do that. What do I do? Do that to go back out? Yep, looks like that's the case. Can I grab this and then full screen it? So now that just went to full screen. Let's bring YouTube back over and let's bring the Play Store down here. Now we're gonna do this. We're gonna do expand. So now that's taking up full screen and behaving like a full screen. And I can do that and go back up to these apps. Guys, I think I'm gonna need time to play with this, but this might be really, really, really good. And then of course, I believe I can, save as an app group if I want to just have this as a setup. Of course, with something like the Pixel Fold, you can do YouTube, and then you can swipe up and grab the Play Store like I just had and drag it over. But that's pretty much it. That's what you're gonna have. You can swap places with them, but that's the extent of what you're able to do. The OnePlus Open is obviously capable of doing a whole heck of a lot more. Let's jump into those settings again though, because it definitely has its own flavor for a lot of these things. If we go down here to main screen, you'll see that there are a lot of different options for the taskbar. You can turn off some of these things like the recent files or the app drawer, recent apps and suggested apps. I wonder if I can change how many of these I have. Maybe I can just drag more down there. Looks like you can make folders down there, so that will be useful. Let's drag this over. Let's get rid of that. It looks like you may only be able to have 4 there. I wonder if I turn off like recent files, will that buy me another slot? No, it will not. So that is a restriction that I don't know that I love. It's going to make me kind of change things a little bit. And I don't like change, but that is what it is. Let's go back though. Flexible window, this is what they're calling a floating window, dual windows. open an app in 2 windows on the main screen. So certain applications like Outlook are going to kind of be able to do something similar to what they do on Surface Duo. We'll explore that a little bit more. Wallpapers and styles, you can see they've kind of got their own look for a lot of these things. This is not just like stock Android. They've definitely added their own flavor to a lot of these things. Raise to wake, double tap to turn off screen. Tons and tons of options I'm going to have to explore. Of course, I'm going to make a tips and tricks video that's going to go over as much of this stuff as I possibly can. So very, very early first impressions of this device, I think, are quite strong. The hardware feels absolutely fantastic. Both of these screens are tremendous. Performance is extremely good. This thing is absolutely flying around the operating system. Camera bump is very, very large. I do think it's actually a bit top heavy, which is a little bit of a problem, and it's going to be a step back in one-hand ability from where the Pixel Fold was. That's also something that's going to take some getting used to. Now what I have to do is charge this thing up and actually start using it. What I want you guys to do is drop some comments down below. What are some things you want to see covered about this device? What are some questions you have you would like to see answered here on this channel? Subscribe before you go because you don't want to miss out on those things happening. Tons of videos coming, camera comparisons, speed comparisons, full review, tips and tricks. There will be no ticks around. Maybe the tick watch, which I'm probably going to pair it with this thing. Like I said, subscribe before you go, guys. I'll see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friend.